Hello, and welcome to What We Do in the Moonlight, a lit by Moonlight podcast, where it's not a phase to be shipped across the Atlantic in a large, person-sized crate twice. This week, we are chatting about the first two episodes of What We Do in the Shadows in Season 4 that just aired last night on FX. So to start us off, Kaitlin, do you want to tell us a little bit about Episode 1?
Of course I do. In Episode 1, the gang reunites in the home they've shared for centuries, or at least what's left of it. Nandor only made it as far as Fresno, but he had a good time with the family he met along the way. Laszlo has been raising the baby that crawled out of Colin Robinson like the amazing dad he is. Nadja returns from her work with the Vampiric Council in London with desires of building a nightclub, and Guillermo has been home for at least a week locked in a shipment crate. What happened in Episode 2, Emberlin?
In Episode 2, Nadja's nightclub dream is coming to life, but not if the guide can help it. Laszlo uses his skill set in psychology to help her come to terms with her desire to preserve the Vampiric Council headquarters and archives, but in the process, she comes to terms with another realization about her vampiric past and present. Meanwhile, Nandor is looking for his wife, and the genie he finds hidden in one of Alcanadar's treasures may be able to help him find her among his 37 previous she and he wives.
Hello, my name is Kaitlin, and I love wearing big hats.
My name is Emberlin, and I'm really into the TikTok drama right now, where the one girl is singing the national anthem, and then the other girl comes up and takes the mic from her mid "Oh Say Can You See" and says, "Hi, this is my graduating class," and then proceeds to badly sing, allegedly.
I've never seen that.
I found out about it the other day.
Please send it to me.
It's so you're gonna scream. I'm gonna link it in the episode notes. It is. And then I found the other girl's TikTok where she tells her side of the story, and she definitely
I love getting both perspectives.
No offense to anybody, seems like someone who would do that. So just all love. It seems like a nightmare. I love it.
Can't wait.
So Kaitlin, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, both episodes aired last night. We both had the chance to watch them live. They were amazing. Before we jump into that, though, I'm curious, like, what were you expecting from the first few episodes of the season before you saw them?
Before I watched it, I felt like I couldn't even guess because I just knew that this show was always gonna either exceed my expectations or just go places that I could never ever guess, because that's just what the show does. But I did say that we would see the immediate aftermath of the reveal that Guillermo is in the coffin and not Laszlo, and then cut to Laszlo now being a dad to baby Colin Robinson, and then Nandor is going to be somewhere in his eat, pray, haha, love journey. But as for now, as for how they all came together, I said absolutely no idea. I'm just excited to see it. What did you think?
I mean, first, I'll just say it was very clearly an eat, pray, love journey. So when they mentioned that in the first episode, I was like, yes, I'm so glad that there was a nod to that. So for me, I feel like all my expectations were thwarted 5 minutes in the first promo, because I expected something so much more angsty than what the promo showed us. But I'm still, at that point, I was still kind of hoping for an emotional reunion between Nandor and Guillermo, which I didn't necessarily get, but I feel like I got something even better than that, so I can't complain. Yeah,
I wasn't ever do I want emotional reunions? Yes, because I fucking love reunions.
Same.
They're my favorite thing in real life, in media, whatever. But also as soon as the show started, I was just this isn't the show for that. They're just gonna go by and do. They're just gonna do some other shit, having Guillermo be shipped back across the Atlantic for a second time.
Why would they give Guillermo any more respect than they typically do? What would have changed in order for them to do that? Nothing.
Why did I think that they were going to give this character respect and kindness?
I saw that one bingo card, which we'll dive more into the bingo cards later, where somebody, I think the creator of the bingo card, had assumed that Nadja and Guillermo would come back as best friends, and what got me the first 10 minutes was when Nadja and Laszlo were like, who? When Nandor brought up Guillermo, even though she literally shipped him there in a box a week prior.
then he comes out and Laszlo's like, oh, that guy.
They're literally the worst.
Guillermo starts like yelling at them, and Nadja once again is like, oh, there's a complaint with this guy. It was so good. I love it. So, what were your immediate reactions to watching these 2 episodes?
Just immediate serotonin boost. Like, I wasn't knowing what to expect. Sometimes, you have higher expectations, and then like a show starts, and it turns out to like run a little slower than you anticipated or would have liked. But with this show, so much happened in like the first 5 minutes, and I just felt like I was in it. From the get-go.
Yeah.
It was everything I wanted and more, and I got this sense that the writers really listened to the audience, and were ready to deliver the characters we know and love. Some really incredible like jokes, one-liners, plot developments right in the first like episode, and then in between Laszlo and Nadja fucking in the first 5 minutes, and baby Colin Robinson on the bike, and Nandor getting stuck on the Ever Given.
That was so good.
I just read that. So my notes. Wait, let's pause for a second. He got stuck on the Ever Given. Which, if you haven't, if you don't recall, listeners, is that container ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal, way back last year.
The second they showed the map and it goes, they ran into like some travel issues, and it's got the fucking Ever Given. I'm like, of course he did.
I'll tell you what, when that happened,
so
I
good.
immediately thought of you, Kaitlin. I was like, Kaitlin
Thank
is
you.
going to love this. Like, this is her.
That was the
brand.
The joy, that like terrible, horrible incident, and I feel bad for all parties involved, but the joy it brings me is so high, and just the fact that it happened again.
Yes.
Like, I think it's so funny.
It is the epitome of like things that I care about in terms of news, like, or things that I care about in terms of news that don't make me want to die. So thank you.
Yeah, 100%. It was so good. So when that happened, I yelled. It was so funny.
So tell me, like, what were your other immediate reactions to this episode?
Oh,
these first 2 episodes.
Well, first of all, the season opened up with Laszlo watching an in-universe equivalent to Property Brothers because it was the only thing that gets the baby that crawled out of Colin Robinson to sleep at night. And I was like, let's go.
Of course it would be.
Like, immediately, like, you hear the TV on, and Laszlo says something about, like, oh, there's something about, like, a low-bearing wall, and then the TV says, there's a low-bearing wall, and he goes, spoke too soon. And I was like, fucking, I missed you so much.
Fucking low-bearing wall.
Like, I don't remember the context, but just the way he was like, spoke too soon. I was like, this is so good. I missed it. And then just the fact that immediately Nadja shows up with little Nadja, and Nandor's also back from his eat, pray, love journey. And then, like, a few minutes later, we find out that the banging on the walls that Laszlo hasn't been able to fix is actually Guillermo stuck in a shipping crate because he was shipped back across the ocean again, but this time with extra Oreos and Pedialyte. So why is he complaining? It was just so good. And, like, also when the theme song played, I finished getting caught up on the show just a couple weeks ago, but the second it played, I was like, I missed it so much.
Right?
It's just, I was like, I'm back in it again. I felt like I was at home.
Yes.
I feel so comfortable.
It's such a comfort show.
Yeah, and I love that the writers wasted no time in getting them all back together again, because I feel like the show really thrives when they're all together in a scene and, like, bouncing off of each other. And really, when it comes down to it, like, this show really isn't the angsty, like, drama that we thought it was going to be with, like, the whole reunion. And it's just fun, and they're all idiots who also happen to be vampires / familiars. So
Yes.
I was just really happy that we just immediately jumped into the insanity of it all.
Yeah, I like that too, because I feel like there are a lot of people online that wrote, like, really angsty fan fiction, and I was like, yeah. But then when I think about it, like, when I come back to reality and I ground myself, I'm like, yeah, No. So,
yeah, that ain't it.
Okay, so Kaitlin, what was your favorite part from episode 1?
Sorry, I'm just thinking about it. It was just really funny. My favorite part was when Nandor is doing like this whole talking head to the camera bit and telling us about his journey, and he says, "I kind of get the idea that you guys aren't listening to what I'm saying." As the camera pans over to Laszlo and Nadja having sex on the couch right next to him. It was so funny.
I keep thinking
They're just like, no, keep going.
I keep thinking about, I don't know if they were prop legs or like whatever he was using when he had her legs up over his head. I was like,
that cannot be her. Like, what's going on?
It could be though. Trust me, it could be.
What was your favorite part?
So, sorry, I was just thinking about, no, never mind. My favorite part was when I was still thinking about the legs propped up over the head thing. Anyway, when Nandor just immediately jumped in and saved Guillermo, like immediately when he fell through the floor. They told us right then and there where this was going, and I was so incredibly happy they did. Like,
yes,
the moment that happened, the immediate, like, Vishwas and I both gasped. We were like, oh, like, yes. So, oh, wow.
Oh, so good. What was your favorite part from episode 2?
For me, it was the fact that Laszlo canonically invented penis envy.
Don't you mean wanting of the wang?
I do. Yes, I do. Like, of course they would bring, like, a Freudian plot line into his background. Like, of course they would. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah. It completely made sense to me.
How about you?
My favorite was also a Laszlo moment. It's when he showed the construction guys who were working on the nightclub his new favorite house renovation show, and one of the guys makes fun of their use of shiplap on the walls. And Laszlo goes, "No, that's where you're fucking wrong," and then proceeds to tell them the perks to using shiplap walls like the new dad that he is. And they ask Laszlo if he wants to do shiplap in the nightclub, and he excitedly says, "Well, if you've got some." Just that whole like arc of him being like, "No, I like this show now, and I know all about woodworking and house renovation."
My desire
it's just such like a
Go ahead.
It's such a dad thing.
It is, and it's like it feels my desire for him to just like redesign the whole house and like actually DIY it later in the season. Like that would really give me life. Did you have any favorite quotes from the first 2 episodes?
Oh, 100%. I had to like keep rewinding because like I kept like wanting to write them all down. But some of my favorites are again, when in episode 1, when Nandor is trying to tell his story, and then Laszlo and Nadja immediately start having sex again, and he calls him out on it. And he goes, "Are you guys having sex again?" And Laszlo goes, "Well, I'm not baking a cake, Nandor." Like that was good. When Guillermo interrupts himself to say, "What the fuck is that?" when baby Colin Robinson runs in because his delivery was so good. Laszlo says, "A bit of sass from the boy."
A bit of sass from the boy.
And then when Laszlo says, "You can get fucked. This took hours."
Yes.
It was so funny. Again, half of these are just because of the delivery. So
I think the delivery with this show is what makes it.
It really is, and it makes me laugh every single time. It's so good. What were your favorite lines?
Definitely one of the very first lines in the show, which is when Nadja comes back, and her and Laszlo are about to like fuck, and she says, "I want to peel you like a potato and mash your insides." I was like, I'm gonna use that. Like that's great. And then when Nandor is talking about his little adventure, and he says, "My eat, pray, love journey, where to begin?" Because as I said earlier, I was waiting for that, and I'm glad that they acknowledged that's exactly what it was. Like he was Julia Roberts, and Fresno was his Italy.
Yep.
And then, when Laszlo and Nadja are on the couch doing the do, And he like, this room in the back to Nandor offering him to come and join them.
There's room in the back, gold chap.
I was like, yes, like, okay, like, go, yes.
And then Nandor's like, no, it's okay, I'll just watch.
I'll just watch. I was, oh, wow. They really took it to the next level this season. They said, yeah,
I love this for them.
Everybody here is in a polyamorous moment. And I was like, yeah, no, you're right, they are.
It's hilarious.
No, you're right, they are. Thank you. So, what song would you request the DJ to play at your vampire nightclub?
Well, I've been spending a couple weeks with my cousin, which means that I've been introduced to so much K-pop, and honestly, it's wonderful, and I'm having such a good time.
Oh, I love
so
K-pop.
my song that I would request at the vampire nightclub would be "Dance the Night Away" by Twice.
Aw, mine would be, of course, Rasputin.
Yes.
Which is like, it's a banger. Like, they use it in the promos, and I feel like it's been in my head ever since. So, like,
yeah,
I would want them to play
literally
that.
woke up this morning and immediately was like, rah, rah.
I think we should request it the next time we go clubbing together. Like,
yes.
and I feel like everybody, because of TikTok, thank goodness, everybody would really dig that. And then there's another one that I think I'm trying to remember if they play it in the movie or if it's from like a credits in like a previous season, but it's "No Vampires Remain in Romania," because that's like such really catchy. And then the last one, and I think I should say this for later on in the season, but "Night Moves" by Bob Seger, because that shit has been on my head since season 1, and it has just quickly become my favorite song of all time, and it makes me so nostalgic. And like whenever I hear it, I'm just like hell yeah! Like, it is. I feel the way about it that I assume like. I don't know. I feel the way about it that like I assume that like old blue collar white men in the very deep South feel about Sweet Home Alabama, and I can live with that. I can live with that.
I like that. So, since peeling like a potato is one of your favorite lines, what character in these first couple episodes would you peel affectionately like a potato?
Nadja, because
no surprise there.
She just she consistently just, I'm rooting for her. Like, I'm rooting for her more than I am anyone in the entire world, including myself.
Yeah.
She used her special voice to make things happen. And I just want the absolute best for her in all of her ventures. She is a woman who knows what she wants, and she deserves everything. I wish her the best with this nightclub. I have a feeling something's going to go wrong, but I kind of hope it doesn't. And I feel like I'm going to kind of like cringe a little bit when when it does, because I just feel like she deserves the world. So that was mine. How about you?
Mine was also Nadja, because her absolute excitement and passion for her vampiric nightclub is so fucking pure and wonderful to watch. I cannot wait to see this all unfold. Like, she just comes in and she's like, I'm gonna start a vampiric nightclub, and her smile just like, it's just her entire face, and she's just so passionate about it. And I love it when people get excited about the things that like make them happy, and she's just like, I'm gonna do this and no one's gonna stop me. And she literally left the Vampiric Council in London because they're like, we don't do that, and she goes, okay, bye, and she's gonna go do it herself. And I respect her so much for that.
Then I'm gonna go do it someplace else. No, I'm happy for her. I feel like she is just like the most empowered character on that show, and I live for her. Like, she's everything. So, Kaitlin,
Yes.
which character would you let the Wraiths devour at this point?
Right now, I said Nandor. Get your head out of your ass. He is so, like, I said it before in our recap episode, but he needs to get his head out of his ass. Like, this is like, I know they're going for like a slow burn. I can feel it with him and Guillermo, and just Nandor is just not on the same level as Guillermo right now, but he's slowly getting there. And I think this season we're going to see a pining Nandor for Guillermo, because Guillermo has seemed to move on, but Nandor is just catching up. So
I get that feeling too. Yeah. I also said Nandor because I'm really appreciating his growth and recognizing how much Guillermo means to him this season. Like, we saw that when he dove in to save him. But I'm really scared he won't recognize it in time, and Guillermo will finally give up on his codependent tendencies and leave, unless he's planning on laundering money from the nightclub, then go off baby girl, get that coin. But otherwise, like, I remember, like, there was this one scene in the episode where I think Guillermo was walking up into the house and he was like, oh, like, I'm not jealous of Nandor because of, like, well, that's all I'm going to say on that. And I was like, no, say more. No, say more. I'm interested because that does make me curious.
He was talking to someone on the phone and I know that's his boyfriend.
I'm excited for him. Like, good for him, baby. Like, you deserve it.
Yep.
But I'm just excited to see, like, what that means in the span of things. But yeah, that was mine. How do you feel about the guide's expanded role this season, Kaitlin?
Oh, I love it when characters who seem like a one-off become reoccurring, only become a main character later on. Like, I'm so excited to learn more about the guide because I think that Kristen Schaal is so freaking funny, and I'm excited to learn more about her. Like, we've already in the second episode we learned that she has a thing for vampire slayers.
Yes.
So I'd like to see how is that going to what does that mean for the rest of this arc between like her and Guillermo, which first of all, poor Guillermo. She's too much for him. And also just I don't know, I think she's like kind of like almost like a wild card in a way. Like they all are, but like she is in her own different way because like we don't know enough about her to be like, oh, we know exactly how she's going to react in the situation. Like she already had a whole therapy session with with Laszlo that kind of uncovered some of her stuff. And so I'm wondering, like, is she going to be like help Nadja with this nightclub? Like she already started with the construction, but is she gonna like have a bigger role in this? Like how does she fit in with the rest of the group? I don't know. I'm excited because I like her as a character, so I'm excited to learn more about her. How about you?
Yeah, I felt the same way. I think her character is like really cool because we don't know a lot about her. I mean, like we do now, but yeah. It'll be fun to explore her character more this season and like her backstory and how her dynamic with Guillermo progresses. I'm also very happy to find out that she's a complete whore because I only interact with whores. So thanks for being a whore, bestie. Love you.
All right, so let's talk about our 2 peaks in the valley for the first 2 episodes of What We Do in the Shadows. What was your first peak?
So my first peak is I just get the sense that we're moving toward the meat of the slow burn between Nandor and Guillermo. Like I feel like in other seasons, you might not have noticed it as much. Like for example, Fishwas and I were talking maybe a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned, oh yeah, like I'm really excited about Guillermo and Nandor's relationship, and he was like, oh, as friends, and I was like, no. And I think it really occurred to me in that moment that like there are probably people out there that don't see like the direction it's going in. And are like, oh, like they're just like besties. When like I think some of us other folks that have been around the block a couple times in the category of like fun queer shows are like, those two are in love. So it was like interesting to have that perspective. So I'm really thrilled about that. I get the sense that that if this is what's happening like right now in the first 2 episodes, it can only get more batshit, but like in a good way, also literally. And I'm also, I should say, and I guess this is like part 2 of my peak, I'm really proud of him, of Guillermo, that is, for standing up for himself against Nadja and Laszlo and kind of like putting his foot down in the house and being like, I am over the bullshit. Like, I'm sick of the way you guys treat me. I'm going to do my own thing. He's still super codependent on his relationship with Nandor, clearly, and his friendship with Nandor, but like, at the very least, it seems like he's making progress away from the role of like a more passive familiar. So I'm excited for him. What was your first peak?
Right along the same lines. As I said earlier, this continues to be the slow burn that is the relationship between Nandor and Guillermo. And like you mentioned earlier, the second Nandor dove into the basement to save Guillermo, I was like, let's go.
Yes.
They know what they're doing. They know what this means. This is the direction that we're going in, and I'm so excited to see it unfold. But I am really happy that we got hints that Guillermo is in a happy relationship now, and he seems to be in a good place. And I'm so conflicted because I absolutely, above all else, want the best for Guillermo because he needs a break. He needs to be happy. He needs to have someone in his life that respects him and loves him for who he is and treats him well. And he deserves way more than Nandor, and he just needs to be happy. But also, I'm so invested in the slow burn because of how they're both at different places now. How like Guillermo is so ahead of the game. He's like done pining after Nandor, and seems to be in like a really happy, healthy relationship. We don't know much about this relationship yet, so I wonder if this new partner of his is going to cause conflict in some way. And like I really want this person to be like 100% wonderful and pure, but also like what if it's someone that like is bad? And that's how this ends, because like I fully believe we're going in the direction of Guillermo and Nandor becoming a couple, but Nandor is so behind.
Yes.
And him just like meeting all of his 37 wives again, and I really feel like the one that he ends up choosing, and then how he describes his perfect wife is low-key him describing Guillermo.
I agree. I agree.
So I'm excited to see where that goes, and for Nandor's moment of him being like, oh, it's been Guillermo this whole time.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like Nandor needs to be at a place where he can like truly give Guillermo all of the respect and love that man deserves. And that we're not at that place right now, but it's going to be interesting to see that character development over the next like couple of seasons.
What was your second peak?
I was just going to say my second peak. That's why I was like, yeah, go ahead, ask the question. So for me, it was just all of the intricate little details in the first couple of episodes. I feel like this is something this show's always been especially good at, is just creating smaller pieces that you can kind of focus on in the background of all of the main plot lines. For example, like the giant fat ass raccoon that is just like tooling around the house in the very beginning. And then like little Nadja with her hand on Laszlo's knee when they're all sitting on the couch together.
Oh, I missed that.
It's so cute. But like I didn't catch that until the second rewatch of the episode, and I was like, oh, that's adorable. It's little adorable things like that I just feel like make this show so amazing. Yeah. Wow. How about you?
I love that. Well, first of all, I completely missed it, so I'm gonna have to just rewatch it just for that, because I saw her like all snuggled up to Nadja, which I thought was adorable. Also, I love that Nadja and little Nadja wear the same outfits. It's fucking adorable. Also, I really like that Nadja keeps thinking that the raccoon is baby Colin Robinson.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I found him. And Laszlo's like, no, my dear, that's another raccoon. And she goes, oh, okay, haha. She's just like totally okay with it. And it's just really funny. My second peak was Nandor has had a genie lamp for hundreds of years that he thought didn't work because he'd been rubbing it the wrong direction the entire time. That was really funny. Just when Guillermo was like, well, have you tried rubbing it counterclockwise? And then
he's like, oh yeah.
It's just one of those like stupid little jokes in the show that like absolutely make me laugh so hard.
I also like that he's talking about all of these like riches he brought back from Al-Qanadar. And he's like, oh, like I need to find someone to share these with who actually appreciates them. And like none of the women he's kind of, it seems like he's trying to share them with seem like they really appreciate him. But as soon as Guillermo sees them, he's like really interested, I felt like. So I was like, oh, like that's an interesting little contrast.
Oh, Nandor, he's right there.
He's right in front of you.
Literally right there, you dumbass.
And then when he assumes that Guillermo's going to be jealous when he says he wants to get married, and Guillermo's like, no, I'm not jealous. And he's like, really? Like, he just seems like a little like, he was expecting it and hoping for it a little bit. So, I don't know.
And I'm telling you, the fact that that's not going to happen is going to make Nandor wake up.
Yeah. So agree. If I had a valley about this season, I'd say I like can't believe I'm saying this, but I want more of Laszlo raising baby Colin Robinson. Like I love that Guillermo, being the only sensible person / only living person in the house, stepped in. But there's just something about Colin Robinson and Laszlo's dynamic that I really like, and like I want to see more of. I'm thinking we're going to get more of that based on the next episode's preview, but I just really like that. I think it's funny. I think it's nice to see Laszlo in this, like, as we were talking about earlier, in this, like, father role, this paternal role. It gives me life. Yeah. Did you have a Valley?
Yeah, it was that I needed more Colin Robinson.
Yeah.
I feel like his absence, like, I knew I loved his character before, but the absence of him as a full person, like, I was like, oh, where is he? I miss him. I just need him. And I completely agree. Like, I really want more of the Laszlo and Colin Robinson dynamic because I loved it so much in season 3, and just like the fact that that he's like a dad to Colin Robinson now is so funny. And like, I was so ready to get more of that dynamic started right away, especially with how the first episode opened.
Yeah.
But yeah, based on the next episode's preview, I think we're definitely gonna get more of that, and this is literally only the first 2 episodes, so I have hope.
I do too.
Yep.
That's why I feel like one of my favorite scenes in the first episode was, or was it? Yeah, it was the first episode when they get they're trying to get the password from Colin Robinson for his credit card, and he's like 3, 1, and then like 10 minutes go by, and then it's like been a long time, and he's still giving them numbers for the password.
I love that it's just, your credit cards only have a 4-digit PIN, and like they continued to write down all of the numbers that he had.
And my thing is, like, it
so
probably
funny.
somehow also was that long, because that's who Colin Robinson would be, as somebody who somehow has a PIN that's like 100 numbers long. So we had this incredible bingo board, which this template was made by Hammerspace on Twitter. Thank you, By Hammerspace.
Thank you.
And it's just a season 4 bingo board for What We Do in the Shadows. You fill it out beforehand, and then throughout the season, we're going to fill it in with things that actually happen. And each box has predictions in it. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5x5 board. Can't believe I just did a count. I should know better. And here are predictions for the season. Our first one is that Nandor says fucking guy.
Easy.
Easy. The next one is Freddy Krueger, ? And I just put this because one of the episodes is called Freddy, but I have no idea what that means yet, and it could be anything.
Is it really?
Yeah, I assume it's like a supernatural character, maybe not Freddy Krueger, but I just was like,
wait,
maybe it is Freddy Krueger.
What if that's Guillermo's boyfriend?
Oh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. Should we change it? Because it's still early, or should we just leave it?
You can like add it to the box. Freddy Krueger, Guillermo's boyfriend. Does Freddy Krueger? This is a silly question, but does Freddy Krueger have anything to do with vampires?
I mean, he's a spooky guy, but
he's a spooky guy.
I just assume that since the Babadook was in it, that maybe also Freddy Krueger will be in it for some reason.
That's fair.
I've next said, because there's another episode named The Wedding, that the wedding episode ends with a revelation that Nandor loves Guillermo.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking. And then I have a bingo card for when 5 people have gotten Ian. A bingo space for that. I've got one called Some Shit Goes Down in New Jersey. We've got one that says when adult Colin Robinson returns, there's like a catch. Like there's something different about him. Like he's an actual vampire, or he's just like a different kind of energy vampire, or just like something like that. I'm not really sure. But I just feel like there's a catch. Like there's something different about him. That might be like too general, but I just feel like there's got to be something different about him.
There probably will be. Next, we have a Taika Waititi cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have lesbian vampires,
Mm-hmm.
which we all need, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The guy tries to fuck Guillermo is the next space, which I think is also going to be an easy fill based on
I filled that one
episode
in
2.
already.
The gang tries to send Colin Robinson to private school.
So the next row, the National Vampire Council gets pissed about the nightclub. Guillermo kicks ass in a fucking metal fight scene. I hope that's easy to fill in. My free space is Laszlo and Nadja treat Guillermo like absolute dog shit.
Already filled, baby.
I've got, the next one is 900 ads for Thor Love and Thunder in the first few weeks of episodes.
We already got that.
And then the next one in the row is just gay sex.
Nice. All right, our next row is Guillermo and Nandor have a blowout fight. Laszlo and Nadja fuck in a public place. Again, we're on the right track here. Nandor does some himbo shit. Marvel movie guest star. Can I ask why?
Just because I feel like when I listened to that interview of the day where, first of all, because we've already had like, how many Marvel movie guest stars have we had in the show already? 2.
Who?
Right? 2? Well, the first was Tilda Swinton.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one was Dave Bautista.
I forgot Dave Bautista was there.
And there might have been another one too, but I think that's it. So I just feel like he's gonna tap like Natalie Portman or just like somebody minor, or like Idris Elba or somebody, for like
someone
this,
who was in the Marvel movie.
Yeah, just because when Taika was in interviews for Thor: Love and Thunder, he mentioned that he'd asked he asked Natalie Portman if she wanted to be in like his Star Wars movie, and she's like, I already was. He was like, oh, I forgot.
That's really funny. Oh my god.
So I feel like he's gonna tap her or just like ask somebody else, like maybe randomly, hey, do you want to come be in this? So that's why I assume that.
How involved are him and Jermaine in it still?
I actually don't know. I know they're the creators, and I know they both do a lot of directing.
Okay.
And I always just assumed that they were able to rally guest stars just based on their prominence as directors.
That makes sense.
So, like, because I feel like a lot of people they have, like Christian Skull, like, are people that they've worked with closely in the industry for, like, a long time.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So that's my take.
To wrap it up, we have character arc for Laszlo where he learns a dad lesson.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Guillermo goes to therapy.
Yes, Guillermo goes to therapy.
He needs it. Colin Robinson plays Mark in Red. The gang goes to Disney World at some point. Would love to see it. Little Nadja sees that Nadja has met her true potential and pieces out. Oh no.
I hope
I want Nadja to meet her full potential, but I don't want little Nadja to go anywhere.
Same.
And then cult leader Jan returns.
Yeah, I feel like we're just not done with her yet.
Yeah,
as a person.
I like that.
So we were able to cross off Laszlo and Nadja fuck in a public place.
Yep.
Free space. Laszlo and Nadja treat Guillermo like absolute dog shit.
Yep. Immediately
and then,
checked.
Yes, and then the guy tries to fuck Guillermo.
Yeah, I can't believe that's already checked. It's so funny.
I know it is. I feel like it came it came quicker than I anticipated.
It really did, but I respect it.
I respect it too, which makes it. There were a lot of things that happened in this first couple episodes quicker than I anticipated they would, which makes me excited because it's like if this is what happens in the first couple episodes, then God knows what's going on.
Exactly.
After this.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, Kaitlin, on a scale of, I'm gonna say 1 to 5, how many boxes of Count Chocula given to baby Colin Robinson in a tin dog bowl out of 5 do you rate episode 1?
First of all, when that happened, I yelled. I love that it was Count Chocula, and I love that he's treating him like a dog. The absolute disgust that Guillermo had in the background of that scene was so good. But to answer your question, it's a 5 out of 5. I adore this show. It just immediately, like I said, once it started playing, I was a serotonin boost. So happy. What do you rate it?
It was the same for me. 5 out of 5. Great start to the season. I'm really excited about where it's going. As I just mentioned, so much happened immediately. Made me feel very good about what's coming.
Yes. And for episode 2, on a scale of 0 to 37 wives that Nandor has, what do you rate episode 2?
I'm going to give it a hearty 35 out of 37 of Nandor's wives. I feel like I have to take away like 2 wives just because I love the first episode more.
Yeah.
But I still loved this episode. So 35 wives. How about you?
Yeah. I would have to say a hard same because, I don't know, the first episode just really came in strong. And I'm not saying that episode 2 wasn't as strong, but it was still really good, but I think episode 1 is still my favorite so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So thank you everyone for listening to What We Do in the Moonlight. Tune in next week when we find out what kind of theater kid Colin Robinson is going to become when we review episode 3.
Woohoo!